Hey, thank you for taking the time to click on today's video. You know, as a pre-retiree or a retiree, there's no shortage of risks that you have on your money. When we think about it, we've got stock market risk, we've got inflation risk, we've got taxation risk, we've got longevity risk, which is kind of the risk multiplier. It takes all of the risks and it multiplies the opportunity of us seeing another stock market crash. It multiplies the opportunity of inflation eroding the value of our money over the rest of our life. Taxation compounding and diluting what we get to keep. But the one risk that no one seems to be discussing with their clients is the risk of inaction. I'll give you an example. Some time ago, I met with a gentleman who had been retired for 15 years. So as you can imagine, this gentleman he's up there in age. He's 77 years of age. And ever since he retired, he continued to maintain keeping his money in his 401k. He always kind of knew that he should do something about that 401k, but he just kind of put it on the back burner. And you know, after all, he wasn't a big risk taker, so he put the money into the stable value fund. He earned 2% on it, and it seemed to be allowing him to sleep at night. But the reality was, he knew he had risks, but he never took any action to assess what those risks were. This gentleman, for the last umpteen years of his life, at least 7 years of his life, had been in a position where the government was forcing him to take money out to satisfy his required minimum distribution. But he was overpaying in taxes because when you take withdrawals from a 401k, you mandatorily have to pay 20% withholding. And the stupidity of that was that his ignorance was forcing he and his wife over the last 7 years to overpay in income tax, even though they were in the 12% tax bracket. And the reality is, even though, yes, his wife and himself, they got a nice, handsome tax refund back at the end of every year, the reality was that additional money he had to draw out to cover that mandatory taxation only helped him cannibalize his principal faster. Now you add insult to injury, I mean, he must have been able to sleep well at night because after all, he's in the stable value fund, he's making, 2%. But then he realizes another problem during our conversation. Another problem is that he's not even making 2% because the stable value funds and 401ks, though they may disclose to you that they're paying you 2%, they're also charging you about 0.25%. So he's only making about 1.75 net. And at the age of 77, his required minimum distributions are way higher than what he's earning for interest on that money. So what does this mean? It means it's adding even more to the cannibalization of his principal, forcing him into a position where his retirement is lasting a lot less. It's lasting him way fewer years than what he anticipated, and this guy's got a long life expectancy. You see, I cannot urge clients enough that when you see risks, of course, overreacting is not a good idea. Knee-jerk reactions is not a good idea, generally speaking. But when you know year after year, maybe decade after decade, that there's a problem with the advisor, there's a problem with the management of the account, there's a problem with the type of investments that you're investing in, or you've changed your stage of life from the accumulation stage to the distribution stage, and now your focus is now changed from growth to now income, but you're not getting income because you're having to engineer it by selling shares. That inaction, that not addressing the risk, that ignoring the problem is one of the primary mistakes that retirees make. Ignoring those problems does not make them go away. Taking and brushing them to the backside or under the rug or putting it on the back burner does not help you. It does not help your spouse. It does not help the legacy to your family that you're going to live, that you're going to leave. So I encourage you, when you understand, when you have that gut check, when you feel as though there's something potentially wrong, this is when you must seek a second opinion. You go to the doctor gives you an assessment. You generally don't just go, if it's a serious symptom, if it's a serious potential illness, you don't just go along with the first doctor. You seek a second opinion to collaborate whether there is a problem. And this is the reason why it's so very important to understand that a fiduciary is not a salesman. A fiduciary is someone who is held to a much higher standard, someone who is required by law to provide you advice that is going to be in your best interest. So start getting serious about taking action on your retirement. Even if you're not retired, the people that I find most successful in retirement are the people that started preparing for retirement 5 years before they retired. And if you don't have 5 years, then get after it. Start taking action today. Start asking questions. Even if you don't have the right questions to ask, make up questions. I don't care. The most foolish question in the world is the question that you never ask. So my encouragement to you today is to take action. Take real action, because this is your retirement, and what you put into your retirement is going to be reflected on what you get back out of it. If you like our little videos, I encourage you, give us a thumbs up. Share this with your friends if you need to give them a little bit of tough love and maybe a little bit of encouragement to take that next step and taking action on their retirement. Maybe this is just the video to share with them. If you like our little videos and you'd like to receive more of them, I also encourage you to click that little bell and subscribe. We'll notify you each time we have a video. And I also encourage you to go to our website, johnsonwim.com, where there's a wealth of information. There's videos, YouTube videos, my Saturday morning radio show, resources that will help you educate yourself as to what risks you need to be watching out for and the risks that you can easily take care of and mitigate immediately. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Matthew Johnson, and remember, it's up to you to make today a great day.